Um, so basically, the big the big change came for you when President Obama decided, after everything, to commute your sentence. Why do you think he did that?
He said what he said, and so I mean
What did he say?
he said that he felt that the sentence was too much. That I had served my time, and I had gone through the process and gone through the court system, and then asked for a commutation, which I did. I asked for
You petitioned for that.
I petitioned. Well, the public petitioned publicly for time served. We petitioned for 10 years, which is what we were able to do within
see.
our
I
within
see.
on our end. So we wanted a reduction of sentence from 35 years to 10 years,
I
which
see.
would have made me in the range of eligibility for parole at that time.
But
And
did it feel like a long shot when you were asking for commutation?
oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like actually, I talk about this again in my book, but like we sort of had reasons for why we were doing it, but they were like to improve my quality of life. To really, just sort of draw attention to some issues and raise some long-term health issues and healthcare issues with being trans and whatnot, and really drive home the sort of message it's time to start taking care of some of these things, especially if I'm going to be in prison for another 20 plus years. And yeah, we had no expectations walking into this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we were we figured it was a long shot, and it was actually honestly, I mean, this is a bold decision from Obama.
Because he's the one that he was the
It's like the
president when you
last
got
decision.
sentenced, right?
Yes.
So
Because if you think about it, because I've had time to think about this, this was the last decision that he made as president, as like one of the large.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a legacy.
Put a cap on his presidency.
Sort of legacy-defining decision, being a cap and a sort of legacy-defining decision, and one of those was to give me a chance, and that's a bold, and also not only that, but like this isn't like, oh, we're commuting a 40-year sentence to a 30-year sentence, right?
It was, yeah.
This is like no, we are taking 4/5 of your sentence and slashing it, which is a big deal. I mean, or 5/7 is what I think it is, and yeah, it's a big deal.
It's crazy to think that probably almost any other president probably would not have done that.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think that it was a bold and risky. It was a bold and risky decision that sort of whatever I do for the rest of my life is going to be tied to his decision. So yeah, it was a bold decision, and I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of sort of the risk that he took.
So how do you feel about President Obama?
I think he tried. I think he tried. I think he was a president who didn't understand the reality of the moment that he was in. He wanted to reach across the aisle. He wanted, health. Getting health care was like the capstone of his entire legacy, and he didn't get anything else done. He's mostly spent the presidency like treading water and whatnot, and sort of one of the reasons for that. And then the only bits of his legacy that he seemed to be able to keep were sort of carryovers from the Bush administration and sort of the solidification, the crystallization of the security apparatus, the use of the use of the militarization of policing in the U.S. Obviously, he became known as sort of the deporter in chief in that time frame. So I think that while he personally tried, I think that the presidency is such a toxic office. It's such a poisonous position because it's not just a person; it's an institution. You are the executive of the executive branch of the United States, and the executive branch of the United States acts on behalf of the sort of like ruling class in the United States, and the sort of powers that be within the moneyed interests of the United States, and so does the Congress, and I think that that he, being sort of this constitutional lawyer, has tried to wrestle with this and grapple with this, and and then you just had this sort of rise of power within the reactionary right, where went from like, because if you recall, we went from like Paul Ryan being the face of the Tea Party to like Josh Hawley and
Yeah.
And the sort of Marjorie Taylor Greenes, like the right has been just surging so far right, and just the Overton window has been getting pushed to further and further to the right, and this is even occurring during his presidency, and he's responding to the Republicans and to his progressive base the same way that they were in the 90s, right? Which is like progressive base, wait your turn, we'll get to these things when we get to it, and then trying to work across the aisle, constantly scrambling to work with and try to get concessions from Republicans. And this has just been the consistent, like the Biden administration has just got a continuation of this.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, at this point, I think that personally he tried. I think that he made a few decisions as an individual, in that role and in that office. But just sort of like the poisonedness and the toxicity of the office of the presidency is, and I've often I don't know if if you've seen this, but I've regularly advocated for the abolishment of the presidency as a political office. I don't think that a single person should be in this role. I don't think that an executive office should exist. I really think that's one of that's honestly that's honestly one of the biggest failings, I think, of the Constitution, is sort of structuring this system in this way in which you have you have this king-like. We have an elected monarch. That's what we have.
Yeah.
You switch between the parties or whatnot, but you basically you get to pick who wears the crown every few years, and has all the same powers that that the crown of that era of the 18th century had, right? And so yeah, I'm very skeptical of sort of the ability of any I don't think you just need to elect the right president. I think the problem is the office itself.
Interesting. Do you have personal feelings towards Obama as the person who commuted your sentence? Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I find it because politically, obviously, we sort of have some disagreements and whatnot. But I mean, that's a bold personal decision, and I can't. How can I?
Yeah.
That
So you feel
he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
He
There's
would've there was no penalty to pay for him not doing that.
Sure. It was only a risk to him.
Yeah.
No benefit, really.
And that's significant on a personal level to me.
There is a level of gratitude towards him.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personally, yeah,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say so.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.